Hello, this is Paul and Ashley Perry from Global Equip Ministries, and we are in the Amazon River in the city of Manaus, and we just now dedicated this boat to the Lord. And we just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done, the help that you've given, the offerings, the prayers, the tremendous sacrifice that everyone's given together to see this manifestation of a dream. The biggest influence that we have there is helping them with the resources to do what God's called them to do. We networked with these guys. We've been friends with them for like 7 years, 8 years. We saw the necessities there, and what they do is that they're evangelizing indigenous. They provide medical care for them, they disciple them, they help them with their family issues, counseling, things like that. And the practical side of it, something, you see the child that needs water, you give him water. You see a kid that needs clothes, you give him clothes. The big thing in the Amazon, 5% of the world's fresh water is there, but you can't drink it, it's dirty. So we go in and we drill wells because that's a practical necessity that they have. The biggest thing in the Amazon is how long does it take you to get to this place? One of the very first well that we drilled, we had to borrow a boat. We had just bought some very basic drilling equipment. We borrowed a boat, put the equipment on it, put everybody on this boat, and it took us 6 hours to get to the village. Now, 6 hours doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you remember we're talking like 7 miles an hour is how fast these boats are going. And they use, 10, 15 gallons of fuel an hour. Now, these other boats are all made out of wood. The boats that we just finished building are made out of aluminum. They're very light. They have brand new engines. They're totally designed for the use of the people that are there, the indigenous, the Brazilians, the workers in the church and stuff, but they also accommodate having foreigners that are a little slightly taller than average. Most of the wooden boats that we were on, we're constantly banging our heads, walking around bent over, headaches all the time. The big thing is fuel consumption. We have a water purification system in the boat that we can take the water straight from the river, turn it into drinking water, shower water, cooking water, to brush your teeth. I mean, we literally flush the toilets with clean water now. Before, you literally took a shower in river water, and we had to carry 5-gallon jugs, like 20 or 30 5-gallon jugs of fresh drinking water. We can get to these villages with this new boat. Instead of getting there in 6 hours, we can get there in 2.5 hours in the big boat going slow and use less fuel. Plus, we don't have the expense of renting someone else's boat. We don't have to pay a pilot, things like that. The big boat is primarily for medical trips, medical clinics, evangelism teams, vacation Bible school teams, where you have 15 to 40 people going for, days or a week, something like that. The small boat, which is called Velocity, is a very specific tool, and it's for personal discipleship, visitation in the villages, where they'll go to the new villages, and it's considerably faster. It's actually 5 times faster than our regular boats that they would use to go to these villages. And it has the same water filtration system. It has a bathroom in it and a small stove, but it's kind of like a mini RV, where the other one would be like a tour bus size. So it really has a very specific, very sharp, focused purpose of getting out there. An hour and a half, 2-hour trip that they used to take before, they can now do in 15 to 25 minutes. Wow. They can cook their own food. They have a bathroom that has a shower, water filtration system, first aid kits there. The seats actually fold down and make beds. And they can actually now, instead of visiting one village in one day, they can visit 5 villages in one day and get home before dark. And if they do come home before dark, they have a full floodlight system that they can see like headlights on a car and drive at night and still be safe. If they get caught in a storm, they're inside the cabin of this thing, and they can actually just anchor the boat and spend the night in it. And they don't have all the dangers that they had before and the risks. 2 things that were very specific about these boats were fuel consumption and speed. The third thing was that there's a lot of regions that we go in, and we experienced this. This was quite interesting. It was really a test of its ability. We literally went in water that was knee deep with that small boat. And granted, 8 of the guys had to get out and push because it drug the bottom, but we literally made it through knee deep water. And if we'd only had 2 guys in the boat, they probably just would have revved it up and went through it faster and just pushed through it. You can go to places that were literally unconceivable before, where you would have to take a big boat, then get in a smaller boat, and then get in a canoe and paddle. And we can go in those places motorized at 30 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour in that small boat now. The things that we're needing in the ministry right now, for the Amazon specifically, is really financial resources. The guys that are living there are living on donations of like $150 a month. And the Amazon is actually, even though a third world conditions, it's one of the most expensive places in the world to live. It's almost like an island because everything that comes there either comes in by boat or plane. There's no roads. So living expenses are quite high. The fuel for the boats, we have better fuel consumption, but now because we have better fuel consumption, they'll actually be doing more. We've taken on more villages. We've taken on more responsibility. We've actually grown the ministry with more families that are helping us now. So they'll be doing more work with the boats and keeping fuel in them. Obviously the indigenous people you're reaching, their offerings that they give to us are chicken and fish and manioc root. Really the biggest thing that people can help with is prayer. And I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, they always say that first, but I'll tell you what, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the direction and the guidance of the Holy Spirit and the protection of the Lord over your lives, it's all for naught.